In this video, I'm going to be comparing the process of creating an Instagram reel from our sermon in the service sermonshots.com versus the way I'm used to doing it, which is just bringing the file into Adobe Premiere. Both of these softwares, web-based or non, offer things like tracking and automatic captions. So I'm curious to see if Sermon Shots is worth the money. You know, I tried out Sermon Shots back before it really even went live, got some early access, and it was an interesting concept, but it wasn't really refined. Now they've added things like this auto tracking, and I have the ability to go in and test it out again. So I know many of you are curious on just if it's working well or not. So let's just do it. This is going to be pretty unfiltered, my thoughts of how the service works, and we'll just kind of see how long it takes me to create a reel from our last Sunday service.
The Super Bowl, it's the greatest worship service of the year. It's going to happen in your living room where you're cheering, raising your hands and excited.
So here's the pricing. On a month-to-month basis, you're looking at $50 if you're not signing a yearly contract, and that gets you pretty much what you need. And so that's more than I pay for the full Adobe suite through TechSoup. If you don't do that, check out TechSoup for your church. So this has got to be pretty sweet. Let's dive into it and see how it works. Alrighty, I'm logged in. Let's create our sermon shot. So we click on that, and we can either upload a live stream or go to a YouTube link. So I'm just going to go grab our last YouTube video that we had to actually upload because the live stream broke and we had to upload it later. So here we go. It's in English. We'll hit submit, and then it's going to do what it does here, processing the video. It says it typically takes a few minutes, can take longer for some really large videos. Well, I would consider this a large video because it's over an hour. So we'll just kind of see how long this takes here. All right, there we go. It looks like it took about a minute to get to this page. Now it says it's transcribing the video, which means kind of doing those auto captions, getting all the words. And it says it's got about 5 minutes left to get those all loaded in. Looks like about 3 minutes total to do that process. Now the next step here is to choose what size of post you want. We're going to go with the vertical templates because we're going to be posting on Instagram Reels. So you can see they've got quite a few templates to choose from that you can kind of see what might fit your vibe the most. But we are going to want to take advantage of the auto reframing. So we're going to try out this template right here that says your sermon hook. I don't really know what that's going to be, but we'll see how it works out. You can also filter by tags and favorite some different things. So now that you've chosen a template, let's go next. One thing that's interesting is it does have this area here for AI suggested clips, kind of like Opus Clip, I would assume. It says it may take a while. We'll start working on our video and just see if it does come up with anything here. So I know the clip that I want to try and clip out is where our pastor was talking about the Super Bowl. So one nice thing here is I can actually search, and let's just see if I type in super. There, it pulled up right to where the Super Bowl is. Okay, I found the section. We're just going to hit this plus button to add these in. And actually, we're going to take away this right and just skip over that. This is some of these extra little things we're going to try chopping out. And then we're going to add this little actual application point here. Let's just go to the next step and see. So far, I do like the interface. I love that you can upload a YouTube video and it was like just a couple minutes to get it going in there in the auto transcript without having to have that recording of the file. Maybe you don't have a way to record and you just have the live stream. Well, this could do that. I believe there's even a way possibly to RTMP upload into Sermon Shots with the right plan, which is pretty neat. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on here. Color palette, let's just change it to our branding colors that I usually have in here. Logo is already in there. So you can actually select music. They don't have great descriptions of what it really is, but I do like this chill electronic, kind of. I don't know, kind of feels corporate, but what else do we got? Sure, let's go with that. We're going to click that. You're going to want to bring down the music volume maybe to 25, 30%, depending on how loud your volume already is. I wish there was a way to auto compress the sermon video's audio to make it come up to like mastered level. Your sermon hook. Okay, let's type this. Super Bowl worship. Well, let's put a space. How's that gonna look?
We lose ourselves in the desire for wealth and for fame and for
Okay, I like that. I like that. That's cool. So you can put that little hook right there. Adding text elements, I'm not sure. Captions. We can adjust these a little bit. What kind of animation? Fade in, fade down, zoom in, zoom in up. What's zoom in down do?
We lose ourselves in the desire for wealth and for fame and for power. And if you don't believe me, there is a game.
It's not really matching up.
Today, okay?
Hold on. Let's go back.
We lose ourselves in the desire for wealth and for fame and for power. And if you don't believe me, there is a game.
Interesting. That works pretty good. Resize and reposition. Aha, AI camera crew. Here we go. This should be what auto retracts him into the frame. It looks like it's enabled, but actually if you undo it, it boots up the AI camera crew. So that's a little confusing to me. This is a new feature. So let's just see how it works compared to when he was going out of frame there. It says AI camera crew ready. It's now actively tracking your speaker. Play the video to see it in action.
On TV later today, okay? If you don't know about it, it's called the Super Bowl.
That's kind of weird. I don't know. It seemed like it didn't start at the right place.
We lose ourselves in
there we go.
The desire for wealth and for fame and for power. And if you don't believe me, there is a
it's kind of motion blurring.
On TV later today, okay? If you don't know about it, it's called the Super Bowl. It's the greatest worship service
he's drifting.
of the year. It's gonna happen.
There we go.
Your living room.
Oh.
You're cheering, raising your hands and excited. Your uniform, right?
It's not doing a great job. He's not really moving that fast either. Just kind of slowly back and forth.
They're going to be worshiping, giving themselves in adoration at those players. True worship.
Aha. We changed camera angles and it got real weird.
That's the truth about worship. It is reserved for God alone. We lose ourselves in the desire for
I don't know why it's adding that thing at the end. Did I click it twice or something? All right, let's download that and just see how the download looks. I'm going to go back in there and see if I added on an extra thing at the end that's messing that up. All right, rendering the video. All right, 60 megs. Here we go.
We lose ourselves in the desire for
Hold on.
We lose ourselves in
It's kind of glitchy on the animation there.
We lose ourselves in the desire for wealth and for fame and for power. And if you don't believe me, there is a game going on TV later today.
So it kind of looks like the auto tracking is kind of being a little glitchy. One thing that I really do like is right here in this preview, you can put the overlays for the different services. So let's do Instagram Reel. We would not want that text down here, right? Because it's going to be cut off. So you can actually frame it to where it's going to fit correctly.
You're going to see it on TV.
Which is cool. Let's go to TikTok. So that's really handy. So I think the thing Sermon Shots does have going for it is the ease of upload into it from YouTube. The good transcription. I do feel like the transcriptions are more accurate than I get in Premiere. The built-in effects and templates are actually pretty decent, and some of those overlay features as well. I think where it can improve is some of the audio features, song selections. I think places it can improve, some of the audio features for your video, the sound selections if you want to embed sound on there, and then obviously the AI camera crew and AI suggested clips, I think have some work to do, but shows some promise for improvement, I think. So that took me about 15, 18 minutes. let's dive into Premiere the usual way that I edit these and see how long it takes me. All right, here we are in Premiere. We're just going to start a new project and call it IG Reel February 11th, and make sure that's just to our autosave folder. And we're going to pull in our ATEM recording from our HyperDeck Mini. And we will go ahead and add that to a new timeline. And I think it was about in here. This is kind of the most tedious part. Sometimes it's finding where it is. So what if we go ahead and auto transcribe that? We'll go to captions and graphics, and we'll go to text, and then transcript. We'll hit transcribe. We'll go ahead and let it transcribe the whole thing because we let Sermon Shots do that as well. I typically don't transcribe the whole thing. I will export the video without the captions and then bring it back into Premiere and then let it transcribe that little 60-second section just to avoid this 2 minutes of, transcribing of the whole video that I'm not really going to use. While that's working, I can go ahead and just kind of scrub around and see.
Okay? Your life is a restaurant.
True worship is reserved for God alone was kind of one of his points there around.
Giving themselves an
There we go.
It's going to happen in service called the Super. Okay? If you don't know about it, TV later today. Okay? Game. There is a game. There is a game going on TV later today. Okay? If you don't know about it, it's called the Super Bowl, right? It's the greatest.
I think we're just going to start with the Super Bowl.
Okay? If you don't know about it, it's called the Super Bowl, right? The Super the Super Bowl, right?
It's a tiny bit too much.
The Super
There we go.
Bowl, right? Some basics of if your life were worship, it is reserved for God alone.
Okay. So I chop it up all here in landscape mode, and then we'll do the auto reframe. So I don't even need the caption searching because I've already beat it.
The Super Bowl, right? It's the greatest worship service of the year.
Then I chop out these little extras. All right, now let's see how long this is. I'm always trying to keep these under 60 seconds. That's good. And then we'll just pull in some music. Drum beat here.
The Super Bowl, right? It's the greatest.
And we'll go back to my Essentials tab and just bring down that volume.
This worship service of the year. It's going to happen in your lip.
And a lot of times I'll reframe it before I do that. So I don't know that that matters necessarily. But from right here, we're going to go into this project window, right click and do auto reframe sequence 9:16. Don't nest clips and let it do its thing. Okay, it says it's done. Let's watch.
The Super Bowl, right? It's the great of the year. It's going to happen in your living room where you're cheering, raising your hands and excited. You wear your uniform, right?
It's definitely better on the auto reframe so far.
On TV. People are going to be worshiping.
Let's see how it does on the camera change.
In adoration.
Oh, what was that?
That's
So sometimes I'll come in here if I see it do that. So I like that I can edit the auto reframing. So we'll just go in here and turn off the auto reframe and just bring it back.
In adoration.
Close enough, right?
Giving themselves in adoration.
I don't know that I like that. We could pop in here and go there and maybe just scale it in and do a little thing here.
Giving themselves in adoration. We're all.
So the camera itself was moving, is what the deal was there. So we can just keyframe this over to where it works. It doesn't have to be perfect for Reels. Come on.
Giving themselves in adoration. We're all worshiping something.
Makes it look like it
That's
was
some
on
basics
purpose.
of worship. But here is another truth for today. True worship.
Okay, same thing. It was a little goofy there, wasn't it? So we're gonna have to turn off the auto reframe on that as well.
Worship is reserved
Go to when he stops
for God alone.
and go back a little bit.
That's the truth about worship.
And then come back.
It is reserved for God alone.
Okay, close enough. All right, so now we've got that. Let's go and add our captions onto it. We'll come back over to captions and graphics now that we've got our captions, and create captions from transcript. We're going to change our settings here to really low length in characters because I like it to be like a word or two. We're going to change it to single line. And yeah, that should be fine. Let's try it and see.
The Super Bowl, right?
All right, so
It's the great.
now it's created our caption file. I like to come over here and let's just go mid. We'll change this to Gotham. We'll add a fill background of black, 100% opacity, a little bigger, around the edges a little bit, make the text bigger, and then save this as Gotham. And now it's going to apply to all of my text.
The Super Bowl, right? It's the greatest worship service of.
And I don't really want the Super Bowl, right? Because we're going to add something about Super Bowl worship.
Bowl, right? It's the greatest worship service of the year. It's the Super Bowl.
Can I just take out the no right?
Right? It's the.
Ah, not that. That. See how the captions move with it?
The Super Bowl. It's the greatest. It's the greatest worship service of the year. It's going to happen in your living room where you're cheering, raising your hands, and excited. You wear your uniform, right?
Let's go to my vertical video edit. Okay, so you can get a lot more granular, but this is good enough. I could come in here and just add in some of the text stuff like we were talking about. If I wanted to just do the Super Bowl worship and maybe just make that Beavis so it's all caps and centered and bigger and center. Yeah, there we go.
The Super Bowl. It's the greatest worship
That's fine.
service.
All right, so now we're ready to export and we're done. So how long did that take me? I'll tell you, I'm definitely more used to working in Premiere, having granular level control over things. I could even go in and add B-roll on top of this easily, you know, whether it's clips from the Super Bowl, which you're probably not allowed to say that. You have to say big game or something, right? Something I do want to try is going, instead of in Premiere doing the captions and reframing, just exporting out the landscape edit and bringing it into Capcut and seeing how it does.
The Super.
All right, here we are in Capcut. We'll bring in this 16:9 video, bring it down to a timeline. Come over here to video, down here, auto reframe. Aspect ratio, we want it 9 by 16.
Right? It's the great.
Apply. We'll go to text up here and then auto captions. And source language is going to be English. Wait, I guess that's only if you need them translated. We'll just hit create and see what it does here. Much shorter clip, so it's going to do it much quicker. Let's see what it does.
The Super Bowl, right?
Ratio 9 by 16. There we go. Let's scale this up a little bit and bring it up to here.
The Super Bowl, right?
All right, so here's my verdict. I think if you don't want to mess with any software, Sermon Shots web-based is pretty handy. If you already have the Adobe Premiere, Adobe bundle stuff, it's a really good value, and I think it's super flexible. If you don't want to dive into something deep like Adobe, then Capcut for, I think it's like $80 a year, is really powerful for this kind of content generation. It's got a lot of templates and some key things like the auto reframing and different effects that are pretty handy. So let me know what you guys are using in the comments. And remember, guys, we can do a lot of great things. Let's do it all for God's glory. We'll see you in the next one.